This privacy wall cost me under $600. A contractor quoted me $2,700 for the exact same thing. Here's every step I took to build it myself, and where I actually saved the money. Hey, welcome back to the Garden Sage. If you're new here, this is where I take on backyard projects most people pay thousands for, and figure out how to do them myself. My backyard was basically an open stage for the whole street. So I got a quote from a fencing company, $2,700 for labor and materials. That's when I decided, how hard can this actually be? In this video, I'll show you the exact materials, the real costs, the mistakes I made along the way, and the final reveal. And if you want to see more projects like this, make sure you're subscribed to the Garden Sage. I'm building a whole backyard on a budget, one project at a time. Alright, let's start with planning, because this is the part most people skip and then regret. Before I bought a single board, I measured the space 3 times. Not because I'm paranoid, but because with a privacy wall, a 2-inch mistake at the start turns into a 6-inch problem by the time you're 12 feet down the line. I wanted a wall that was 8 feet long and 6 feet tall. Tall enough to block the sight line from my neighbor's second-story window, but not so tall that I'd need a permit in my area. That's the first thing I want to flag. Check your local permit rules before you dig a single hole. In my city, anything under 7 feet didn't require a permit. Yours might be different, so don't just copy my measurements, go check. For materials, I went with cedar. It's more expensive than pine up front, but it resists rot naturally, so I wasn't going to be repainting or resealing this thing every year. I priced out 3 options, pine, cedar, and composite, and cedar landed in the middle. Composite would have looked great, but it was almost double the cost for this size. Here's the actual cost breakdown, and I'm putting the real numbers on screen because I think a lot of I saved thousands videos gloss over this part. Posts, 6'4" by 4 pressure-treated posts, $94 cedar fence boards, $268 concrete, 12 bags, $71 screws, brackets, post caps, $58 stain and sealant, $46 tool rental, post hole digger, since I didn't own $1.35 total, $572. The contractor quote was $2,700 for the same footprint, same materials tier. Now, to be fair, that quote included labor, a warranty, and cleanup, which is real value if your time is tight or you're not comfortable with tools. I'm not saying the contractor was ripping me off. I'm saying that if you have a couple of weekends and you're willing to learn as you go, this is where the savings actually come from, not from cutting corners on materials, but from doing the labor yourself. Now, tools. This is the part that can quietly wreck your budget if you're not careful. Because if you have to buy everything from scratch, your savings disappear fast. Here's what I used, and I'm going to be upfront about what I already owned versus what I had to get. Already owned: drill, driver bits, tape measure, level, circular saw, safety glasses, work gloves. Had to rent: a post hole digger, because renting one for a day was $35 versus buying one for over $100 that I'd maybe use twice a year. Had to buy a string line and line level, which were under $10 combined, and honestly should have owned already. If you're starting from zero, no drill, no saw, your real cost is going to be higher than mine, and that's worth knowing before you commit. A basic drill and circular saw combo can run you $150 to $250 depending on the brand. Still cheaper than the contractor quote, but I want to be straight with you about that instead of pretending tools appear out of thin air. Okay, let's get into the actual build. Step 1. Marking and layout. I started by driving a stake at each end of where the wall would go, then ran a string line between them. This does 2 things. It gives you a straight reference line, and it lets you double-check your total length before you commit to digging anything. I marked post locations every 6 feet along that line, which is a pretty standard spacing for a wall this height. Wider spacing and the panels can start to sag over time. Step 2. Digging the post holes. General rule of thumb: dig your holes about 1/3 of the height of your posts above ground. So if I wanted 6 feet of post showing, I was digging down around 2 feet. This is where the rented post hole digger earned its $35. Doing this with a shovel alone is possible, but it took my neighbor 2 full days when he did his fence that way. Mine took about 3 hours for all 6 holes. Step 3. Setting the posts. This is the step where precision actually matters, because everything after this either looks great or looks crooked depending on what you do right here. I dropped each post in, added a few inches of gravel at the bottom for drainage. This helps prevent the wood from sitting in standing water and rotting early, then poured concrete around it. And here's where I want to be honest about a mistake, because I think it's more useful than pretending everything went perfectly. My yard has a slight slope that I didn't account for. I set my third post using a level on just one face, and it turned out slightly off-plumb once I checked it from the side. Lesson learned: check your level on 2 adjacent faces, not just one, and check it again about 10 minutes after you pour, because the post can shift slightly as the concrete settles. I caught mine early enough to adjust it with braces before the concrete fully set. If you catch it too late, you're looking at breaking out concrete and starting that hole over, which is a rough way to lose a Saturday. Posts need to cure for at least 24 to 48 hours before you put any weight or pressure on them. So this is a natural stopping point if you're doing this over a weekend. Don't rush this part. Step 4. Framing. Once the posts were solid, I attached horizontal rails between them, one near the top, one near the bottom, and a middle rail for a wall this tall, since that added rigidity mattered once wind got involved. I used exterior screws rather than nails here, because screws hold better under the kind of flexing a tall wall goes through in wind and temperature changes. Step 5. Attaching the panels. This is the most time-consuming part, but also the most satisfying, because you can actually see the wall taking shape board by board. I used a scrap piece of wood as a spacer to keep consistent gaps between each cedar board, partly for a cleaner look, and partly because a small gap lets air move through, which helps the wood dry out after rain instead of trapping moisture against the frame. I worked from one end to the other, checking level every few boards rather than waiting until the end to notice if something had drifted. Step 6. Finishing touches. Once every board was up, I added cap boards along the top, which protects the end grain of the boards from water pooling and speeds up rot. This is a small step people skip, and it's one of the more common reasons a cedar fence starts failing early. Then I applied an exterior stain and sealant. This isn't just cosmetic. It's the difference between this wall lasting 8 to 10 years versus 3 or 4. I let it dry fully between coats, which took patience I didn't really have by this point, but it was worth it. Cost recap. Quick reminder of where things landed, because I want this number to stick with you. Total spent, $572. Contractor quote, $2,700. Difference, over $2,100. Again, that gap represents labor and convenience, not a scam or a markup. If your weekends are already packed, paying for that convenience is a completely reasonable choice. This video is for the people who have the time and want to try it themselves. The reveal. And here it is, finished. Let the shot breathe here. Slow pan, minimal talking. Standing back and looking at this, what gets me isn't just the money. It's that I know exactly how every part of this was built. I know which post to check first if something ever loosens. I know I can replace one board without hiring anyone if it splits down the road. There's something to that beyond just the dollar amount. So here's where it all landed. $572 spent versus a $2,700 quote. That's over $2,100 saved, and honestly, I think it looks better than what the contractor's mock-up showed me. I want to be real with you though, this wasn't a weekend project. It took me 2 full weekends, and if you're starting from zero on tools, your number's going to be higher than mine. So don't go into this thinking it's effortless. It's not. It's just doable, if you're willing to learn as you go and you're okay with a few mistakes along the way. If you want the exact measurements, the full material list, and links to what I used, I've dropped all of it in the description. No guesswork needed. This is what the Garden Sage is all about. Real backyard projects, real costs, real mistakes included. If that's the kind of thing you're into, subscribe, because next up, I'm tackling the fire pit area, and I've already got a feeling it's going to be a bigger job than I think. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.